This is the Eye for an Eye channel. Welcome to today's show. I want to cover universal basic income because a lot of pilot programs are launching around the world. Canada, the United States, and they are using these really just quiet types of mind control methods that you wouldn't realize that this is a negative thing. They use these things, and the way they use terminology on these things, I always equate it to these commercials, these big pharma commercials, where they're talking about like, oh, you know, your side effects could include long-term cancer, your brain not functioning, death. And they have like a nice backdrop music playing while people are holding hands, running down a beach. Okay, that's what they do with these things. That's how they just get away with doing it out in the open, because the mind control methods that they use. And here with universal basic income, I want to play some clips for you of even Barry Obama, I should say, talking about universal basic income and how the benefits of these things are just, you know, really great for all of us. They're free. It's free money. There's a lot of terms used. And one of the big ones that they're using now is shorter work weeks. And you have to keep in mind and keep these things in mind, because all these small little things that they're doing, like shorter work weeks, additional free income, these are ways to condition people into accepting universal basic income. And then eventually, when they wipe all the jobs out, the things they tell you now that are, oh, well, we can't automate that. Yes, they can. And they will automate it. They're trying to make humans think that this is something from the government to help them. And of course, we all know the old saying, the scariest thing to ever hear is the government saying we're here to help. And get people conditioned into accepting this, then eventually removing the jobs and just saying, oh, well, we'll give you a little bit more of an allowance with your universal basic income. Keep in mind, they're going to use things to scare people like automation. Instead of saying, hey, you know what, we should remove artificial intelligence from our society because it's taking jobs away from humans. No. They tell us this is the way it is. We have to accept it. We're going to have less jobs for human beings, but we're going to give you free handouts. Now, these free handouts will be able to buy you rations of food and rations of water that they sell. But of course, this is all part of the dystopian reality they're creating. You'll have a little bit of money. You won't be able to do the things that you used to be able to do, like travel and all that stuff, because your carbon footprint. But as long, as they could convince people that they could still buy the latest phone, which they would give you for free anyway, or you could buy a little toy doll that you used to play with when you were 10, because of course we have adults who are playing with dolls these days instead of realizing a revolution is what is needed to stop this stuff. And of course they go on to talk about felons in this clip. That's important to keep in mind as well, because this is one of the mind control methods that they're using, talking about, well, we're going to pay for felons anyway because we pay for them to exist in prison, which is part of this messed up system that these people could just go continually commit crimes and then we have to fund their food, etc., while they're in prison. That's why in the old days, these people were just taken care of the old-fashioned way, which made them afraid to actually commit these crimes because, they didn't want to get hung in time, down, or in the middle of public square, right? But instead, of course, we have the system in place. Oh, we need to rehabilitate these people. And they never really get rehabilitated, and we pay for their food when we could barely afford our own food. So they're using that as a mind control method as well to say, well, we're already paying for, these ex-felons while they're in prison, so when they come out, we might as well give them money so that they could be empowered and then go and continue to run amok on our society until, of course, full-on artificial intelligence governance is in place to prevent them. But they won't prevent them from committing crimes now because they have to tear this whole thing down first. So they need crime. They love crime. They're gaslighting people to become criminals. So I'm going to play you a clip here from CBS that just aired, and of course, Barry Obama talking about universal basic income. Listen to the ways that these things are mentioned as benefits to us, including the fact that, well, we're going to give you a little money and that little extra free money. So people hear that and they're like, well, I do work a couple days a week. I do have a full-time job, but it's not enough to pay for my electricity because these people are raising all the prices. So they're going to say, the same people raising the price will give you a little universal basic income, right? Because they want to condition you, desensitize you, and have this be a normal part of your life, being given free handouts from the government, and then eventually take all the jobs away. And people will go, well, I guess it's not a big deal. The government's going to still give us money. When we're just empowering the government, taking our rights away from us, and then it's the illusion of freedom still that will exist because, oh, well, you have money in your bank account. You have a little allowance from Big Brother to buy useless, pointless things while they control and have all the resources. So listen to these clips from Barry and keep in mind about the short work week, because that's one of the big things they're going to use to gaslight people into wanting universal basic income, because of course, naturally, people are going to want to work less, especially libs. Listen.
With automation replacing so many blue-collar jobs and pretty soon white-collar jobs, we may need to consider bigger changes, and we should start talking about that now. Things like a shorter work week, or a universal basic income, or guaranteed income. Ideas that can spread work around and supplement the incomes of people as they shift to the much-needed work that I mentioned earlier that can't be automated, that a program alone can't do. Things like childcare and education and health care and elder care. Some of these ideas are being tested as we speak. Right here in Chicago, there's a pilot program called Chicago Promise that's been giving thousands of low to moderate income families $500 in cash every month to help them meet basic needs. And it's modeled after a similar program in Stockton, California. And it's showing early promise because the thesis is you improve financial stability, you improve well-being of low-income families, they actually can fix a busted car, they don't have electricity turned off, their lives are more stable. It doesn't discourage them from working full-time. It, in fact, makes it easier for them to go out and find a job and work full-time. And more broadly, one of the bright spots coming out of the pandemic has been evidence that the generous benefits people received during the lockdowns, which is unusual for the United States. Maybe one of the reasons why the U.S. economy has actually seen an unprecedented increase in new business formation over the past couple of years, because people had a little bit of a cushion to go out and take a risk and try that new idea. And that's the thing about giving people a safety net and helping them achieve their basic needs. Not only does it relieve hardship, not only does it strengthen our democracy, it can also empower people to be more productive and raise their ambitions and set an example for their children. And that benefits all of us. And that benefits the economy. And that benefits business.
Pilot programs testing out guaranteed income are popping up around the country. And according to an article from Insider, these programs are actually working. I thought it was really interesting that, of course, a program like this would get pushed back because we're talking about ex-felons and why should they get free money? And basically, those putting the program together said, shove it. Like, we're going to pay for these people one way or the other. So let's pay for them now to help them get stable. And so then what was the result? I mean, was this program successful?
Whether or not it worked, I think the evidence is very much in the fact that in this program, there were 0 cases of recidivism. Mayor Pro Tem Middleton said, we're going to have to pay for these people one way or the other, whether through incarceration or, basic guaranteed income. So why not pay on the front end and help them become community members? People who are financially solvent, they make better neighbors. They make better members of the community. Let's help them to become better members of our community.
And I think the key here too for people to realize is, it's not food stamps that you have to spend, has to go to food. It's not like subsidizing your housing, it has to go to housing. You get to decide how to use this money to make your life more stable. And I guess you could be reckless with it, but I presume what they found is that people generally weren't reckless with the money.
No, people were buying food. People were buying clothes for their children. The one woman I chose to focus on, her name was Tadrika Lewis, and she's amazing. She's since started a nonprofit for young Black girls in Durham. She bought a car. And when you say that on a surface level, she bought a car. Well, I thought this money was supposed to be for food or for, yes, but she bought a car so that she could better do her job. And now she's earning more money than she ever has because she's able to have more reliable transportation to better do her job. Again, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton said, we don't ask stockbrokers how they spend their money. Why should we ask these people? This is your money. Do whatever you want with it. Some people may use it for, ill means, but most people don't. And statistically, through the storytelling aspect of this program, it was proven that people are just using this for necessity.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. I'd like to see the outcome of some more of these programs.
Okay, and then on top of those things, this is a clip I'm going to play for you of how you're using the same type of montage all around the world, in Canada, etc., of how great universal basic income is. All of the clips you find talk about, yearly incomes, right, which add up to a lot. But what does it matter how much money you get, free handouts from the government, if it's $30,000 when you can't even probably live on $30,000 these days with the price of everything, with gas and food, et cetera, for a family at least. But it sounds like a really good thing that's going to help you and benefit you, instead of saying, all right, maybe we should stop all these corporations that our government's empowering from raising the prices on all these things, and then we're supposed to believe that it's from the conflicts in the Middle East, et cetera. Well, we know that they're doing it deliberately. Of course, the Democrats don't realize that because they're completely blind. The Republicans are completely blind by thinking that the left-right is actually real and thinking that Trump's going to stop this when he's not. It's going to continue to bring the downfall of America. But don't worry, Big Brother will be here to give us handouts. So here's a clip, and these are the types of clips they're using around the world to convince people how good universal basic income is when it's not.
One maritime province is considering a basic income program. PEI might become a test site for a national initiative. As CTV's Jack Morris tells us, a report unveiled today outlines the benefits and the costs.
Basic income advocates gathered in PEI today for the much-awaited release of a report detailing what a 5-year guaranteed basic income program would look like on the island. It would guarantee an estimated yearly income for people between 18 and 64, $19,000 for individuals and $27,000 for families of two. That's 85% of the official poverty line, the government-determined adequate yearly income.
While there will still be the need for many other social programs to support folks, this one is a critical step to make sure there's a floor below which nobody can fall.
It would be in addition to, not to replace, other social programs, including child and old age benefits. However, a taxpayer watchdog group says one of the express advantages of a basic income program is a universal appeal that makes it cheap and efficient to operate, more than the patchwork of programs that currently exist. If it goes ahead on PEI, it's expected to cost $188.6 million based on 2022 numbers. Where the money comes from still hasn't been determined.
So the impacts will be significant, of course, for individuals, but there will be broad and far-reaching impacts for all of us, and it's something we should all support.
It would require spending from both the provincial and federal governments. It's now in the hands of the PEI Social Development Minister, who says it'll serve as a starting point in negotiations between the two.
So you've heard all the trigger terms there, right? Then we have articles like the article I'm about to cover here from The Guardian, which is talking about AI coming for our jobs, but the solution for artificial intelligence taking all our jobs is universal basic income. And everyone goes, okay, that sounds like a good solution. Instead of saying, okay, no, who's allowing this automation to occur? Who's funding this, first of all? Secondly, who's approving and allowing it? And shouldn't all humans be banding together to fight against this? Well, of course they're not banding together because they have humans too busy fighting with each other. So the more division they cause, the easier it is for them to push this stuff and say, well, AI's taking your jobs, and people don't care. And of course, we know people are so obsessed with their technology that they're okay with this. And then when you factor in the stuff I've been talking about with imperfections, right? They constantly talk about how there's an imperfection with humans, but with AI, oh, it's perfect. There's all equity. It's all equal. And those are other trigger terms they're using as well with universal basic income. It's convincing people that they make less money based on their skin color or their gender or what they like to do in the bedroom. All these things are all mind control. It's a big psychosis. They're making people dumber and dumber and not aware of how to actually make more money and things like that. So they think that they're victims. They make them into their own victims, where they think that the reason that they're not successful and someone else is because of this or that. But don't worry, Big Brother's here with the answer. Everybody makes the same amount. So people who make small money are like, yeah, let's do that. I'm sick of seeing these guys driving around in nice cars, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not into materialistic things. I'm not into, somebody driving around a Rolls Royce. I think it's ridiculous and embarrassing. However, this is a form of enslavement. So when only a certain group of people, are allowed to make money and control resources, and the rest of us are thrown into a pot, and then we all get universal basic income, that's called slavery. It's called modern day enslavement. That's the problem that everybody should have with this. Because do you think Barry Obama, do you think Biden and all these other people are going to be making universal basic income? Of course not. And while you're in a little pot where then eventually you're trapped inside with technology where you can't go anywhere under global governance and you can't go see grandma when she's sick because your carbon footprint, it'll be too late to say, wait a minute, we got duped. And that's what's happening here. Everybody's getting duped right out in the open. They're telling you how they're doing it and how they're going to enslave you. But they tell you with a nice little backdrop, they say, we care about you. We're going to give you free money and you're going to work less. Well, it sounds a lot like prison, right? Okay. Yeah, and you could stay in your home more. And people are like, that sounds great. Oh, until they realize they can't leave their home, when they realize that the only things they can buy are pointless things that they'll give you for free anyway. Oh, you can get the new iPhone. Well, they give it to you for free so you can use your little allowance they give you to upgrade your phone. Whoop-diddy-do. Or you could do pointless things with your money. Like I said, like these adult men who are in their 40s who waste thousands of dollars buying toys from their childhood and not realizing what's wrong with that and why they want and they seek these things because they never want to grow up. They don't want to face the problems in this world. And they love that because it prevents men from actually forming and starting a revolution and an uprising against this, right? That's what needs to actually occur. But instead, we're accepting these things with AI. So this article says the idea of guaranteed income for all has been floating around for centuries, its popularity ebbing and flowing with the passing tide of current events. Because this is how communism, this is how this whole enslavement system works. And they haven't been able to convince people till now because of technology. So while it's still considered by many to be a radical concept, proponents of universal basic income no longer see it only as a solution to poverty, but also as the answer to the biggest threats faced by modern workers: wage inequality, job insecurity, and the looming possibility of AI-induced job losses. And you heard Obama just totally flat out lie about, healthcare, and you're going to need it to take care of children. They already have AI in place to raise children. Okay, they already have the programs in place. They've already leaked a lot of this stuff, and they already do a lot of this stuff with these artificial teddy bears and stuff. That's a way to get people used to like having their kids around AI. And eventually they'll tell you, well, these things are trained by Harvard professors and they're just as smart as, and they'll make your kids smarter. And all these suckers will just continue on and buy into it. Then there'll be less and less jobs for humans and kids will be getting raised by demonically possessed artificial intelligence. And the rest is history, right? So Elon Musk, the very trusted Elon Musk, said he believed no job is needed due to the development of AI and that a job can be for personal satisfaction. This is what the future holds, right? Even if AI takes your job away, you don't necessarily just become unemployed for the rest of your life. What happens is you go down in the labor market. You start crowding the lower income professions. Again, when you go down into that, you're just a slave to the elites who are going to do everything they can to get AI in front of your kids, to indoctrinate them with AI, to enslave them with AI, and then it's just a never-ending vicious circle. And of course, then we could expect the trumpets to sound and for all this to end. But first, while we're trying to fight against it, there's still time to fight against it. If, again, men stand up against this, if people actually wake up to it and actually see through their bullcrap. I love how people just stay trapped in this left-right, and Democrats listen to Obama. They're like, he's great. He's the worst president that there's ever been, not named Joe Biden. They're all brutal because they're all actors, okay? But this guy comes out there and he openly talks about this stuff and he speaks the way he speaks, which is he's pretty much doing hypnosis on the audience. And then he talks about, we're going to give you free money and you're going to work less. And those trigger points resonate in people's minds and like, that sounds great. Yes, please. Instead of going, you know what? First of all, screw you. Secondly, why do people not feel fulfilled in their lives? People might want to work every single day if they had a fulfilling job, which would be like farming or something that actually matters. So, of course, who would want to go to work every day when they sit at a cubicle because they're enslaved that way? This is the new enslavement system with technology that's coming. So the old enslavement system of getting you pointlessly in an office for 40 to 45 hours a week, sitting there doing nothing, at all, and trying to convince yourself that you're doing something that's useful when you're not. You're sitting in an office making sales calls. Whoa, whoop-did-he-do. That was the old enslavement system. This one, slaved in your home, right? You think it sounds like it's fun until you realize you're enslaved by the tech. You're not allowed to go anywhere with the carbon footprint. They create more and more outbreaks, so you're afraid to even leave your home. And then they eventually just have giant homes that will really be giant prisons. And then, of course, they'll continue to move you to tighter quarters with one another as they have the line in these smart cities where you get a little cubicle and they'll tell you it's free. And you'll be like, I got a free apartment. And you don't realize that it's really the same as a prisoner because they get a free cell, right? That's all that this is. It's a psychosis. Universal basic income is the death of the United States of America because it's eventually the death of capitalism. And capitalism is really one of the only things that keeps us free. Whether you love it or hate it, well, you will hate communism. You will hate UBI. I'll tell you that. Unless, of course, you like to be enslaved, then, of course, it's right up your alley, right? And, of course, if you like your thoughts controlled and the things you could say controlled, then it's right up your alley. But for the rest of us who are actually still human beings who still have brains that are functioning. We don't want this. So universal basic income is going to continue to get normalized and talked about. We all need to keep an eye on it. They are popping up. Pilot tests are popping up all around the country in America. They're popping up in Canada. They're popping up in the UK. And this is popping up to desensitize people, to make it seem like it's it's just a little caveat. It's a little gift that the government's giving you. Yeah, remember the last time the government was giving out gifts? They're giving you free lap dances and free gift cards if you went and took poison. So what's the difference, right? Oh, here's a little gift from the government. Stay home. Don't go to work more. Stay home. We'll give you a little allowance. What can I do with my allowance? Can I start my own business? Can I be in it? No. Well, with your allowance, you could buy some toys for yourself and little useless things and pretend like you're free still, but you'll be enslaved to us. That's what this system is. It's a nightmare. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.